and set up some fans. The fans are now gone, but we still have holes in our house because we are waiting for insurance to cover the rebuild. Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shannon, this is Made by Boo, and it has been a few weeks. There has been a lot going on here. I'll get more into it at the end in life, but the simple version is we had family in town, one of my kids graduated, so we had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it was just, it didn't really work for me to take time out and film at the time, and honestly, I wasn't working on as many projects while everyone was here. It was one of those things where I made the choice to not film for a little while in order to do other stuff, and I'm okay with that choice. So, a lot has happened. I feel like I should have more finished objects than I do, but I do have 3 finished objects, 3 active works in progress, and 2 that are kind of back-burnered projects that I will still talk about. So why don't we go ahead and dive right into it with my finished objects. The first finished object I have, this was mostly finished last time I filmed, so we're really just seeing it fully finished, is my Quadrophenia. This is using the 2025 Ruby and Roses Advent Calendar. When I showed it, it's probably at least 3 weeks ago, I had almost all of the seams done. There was only one seam that I didn't sew up, so it was mostly done. I want to say I finished it the same day I filmed. I did technically make a little change to the Quadrophenia from the pattern. There is supposed to be eyelet rows in here. I left it out the first time because I got to the end of the first triangle and then didn't do it and just went into the next color without going back and checking the pattern, and I didn't feel like picking it out, so I just committed and left the eyelet rows out. I think it would be very pretty with them, and I may do another one in the future with them, but I don't know. I like it. I feel like it's a decent enough size, but it's like covering me like this. It only goes down to my knees, so it really is for me like lap blanket size. It's either on the lap or on the arms, and the wraparound is, it's okay, but yeah, it's one of those where I don't know if I would make another one. I even considered making another one and just continuing on, like making it not using mini skeins, so it's not the stripes have to get smaller, but using leftovers or something. But I don't know. There's so many things I want to make. We'll see if I come back and make this one again. I might not. The other thing I considered was making one that was like 3 triangles instead of 4, so it had this big opening, so it would kind of wrap around more, and then each one could be 8. But yeah, it's one of those where I don't know if I'll ever make it again. If I do, maybe I'll do the eyelets, maybe I will not. But this is a finished object, and nice and warm and cozy. The next finished object I have, if you watched the last vlog, you did technically see me finish this. This is just, I have not shown it on here. This is my Scrappy Granny stripe. There's no chance I'm going to be able to fit it all in this, in the camera frame. I have a picture. I may put it in. We'll see if I get that done, but this is it. So lots of colors, and when I sit down with this one, it is all the way, like it is up and cozy over the shoulders, and there's still a little bit of space over my feet. It's one you can lay down under. It's a little bit extra wide. I don't know if I'd say 2 people could lay under this. I guess it kind of depends on how cozy you want to be, but I feel like it's a super cozy 1-person blanket, but my youngest child definitely disagrees, feels like everything is a shared blanket if I'm sitting under it, as do the animals. But because it's big and cozy, there is room. I genuinely do not remember where all of these came from. Some of them I can point to and be like, well, that was a Kermit the Frog from Fangirl Fibers. That one was Forbidden Fibers. Like, there's some of them where I'm 99% sure. I know that one was Little Wolf Knits. This one, I think, is Cascade Heritage. a Hypnotic Yarns. Like, there's some of them I can look at and I can know for sure, but there's a lot of these that I don't remember for sure. Like the neon colors, I'm pretty sure came from a sock set that I did, but I did do more than one sock set that had neon colors, so I don't know. But yeah, some of them I know, some off the top of my head, some of them I don't, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It used up so many scraps and made me so happy. The basket that all these scraps were in is now basically empty, and it made me feel so accomplished to get that done. The last finished object that I have is a pair of socks. These were also using leftover yarns. I actually did do a sock pattern, and I just blocked them the other day, so I haven't even taken them off. I still have to trim the ends. I always weave the ends and block, and then trim the ends after I block. But this is the Comfort Core sock by Summer Lee. So it's got some details on the foot that's supposed to make it a little bit closer to an athletic sock. This is the first pair I've ever made, and as I just finished blocking them, I haven't worn them. I'm hoping that it works well to make a nice cozy sock and I can make more of them, but we'll see. So this is just made using leftover Cascade Heritage. I have a whole bunch of leftovers. I'm trying to reduce the leftovers that I have. And I don't know why I liked this denim-y blue with this kind of lime green. I saw them in the basket, decided they'd make a great sock, and here it is. So, yeah, I will have to wear these and decide how they feel. If I remember, I will let you know if I enjoyed them as far as wearability. But I might just forget about that. No promises. So I now have 3 active works in progress. Only one of them you have seen before. Ooh, sorry. I started working on it and then put it aside for a little bit and then pulled it back out. Before I had family get in town, I was trying to hurry up and finish like the big long-term projects as much as I could so that they weren't really just hanging over my head, which is how the Quadrophenia and the Granny Stripe both got finished. This was one I started in mid-April. And I started it because I was going to a conference, and then I needed something simple to work on at the conference, and then I put it aside. So this is the Calico Quilt Shawl, and the yarn is Chelsea Yarns 2025 Advent Calendar. It was London themed. So when I showed it before, I had done these first 2 squares. If you have not seen a Calico Quilt Shawl before, it is done doing these triangles, and then when I'm working on the first row, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I am on color 8, and then there'll be another color 9, and then I'll come back over here and color 10 will go on top of this guy, and then 11, 12, and it'll just keep building up in these triangles. It is not worked the way I originally assumed it would be worked. I thought it would be worked using more of like mitered squares. It is not. I obviously am not going to tell you exactly how the pattern is done, but it is done doing garter stitch, picking up stitches so that I'm going to have ends to weave in, but they're not seamed together. They're picked up and worked. And I kind of laid out my advent calendar. So I do kind of have the issue, this needs to be 25 colors in this. My advent calendar was 24 colors. So when I get to color 25, I need to pick something from my stash that will work well. But I just kind of laid it out as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I had them numbered based on which color I'm working when in the pattern. I don't remember if this is how they were numbered when I opened them. I might technically be working them backwards because I feel like this color was towards the end when I opened the advent calendar. I don't remember because once I took them out and put them in the order that I'm going to work them, I don't remember what order they came in. But I'm working on color number 8. I'm hoping to finish color number 8 this weekend. I just started it this morning, but it's pretty easy working, and I don't know, my husband and I are going to a movie later. I feel like this might work. I don't know. I might bring something else. We'll see. And then I have color 9 for this row, and then the rest, the next row is all in here as well. I do feel like I'm starting to outgrow this bag, and I may need to switch to a different bag. It was perfect when I just had a couple of squares, but I think I'm outgrowing it, and I may need to go to a bigger bag, but I like this one. Makes me happy. So yeah, slowly working on it. I have made quite a bit of progress since the last time we spoke, since I had 2 triangles done. I am logging when I finish each triangle just as a way to kind of keep track of how fast I'm working on it. I'm hoping to make a lot of progress soon. And this should be a big, cozy shawl. Like, it's already pretty long because this is going to be the bottom row. I'm making it bigger because they said to do, like, they gave, I think the pattern was originally designed maybe for 10-gram minis because it said to go to a certain number of stitches, but if you have a 20-gram mini, do this instead. And I kind of split the difference and just picked a number that I thought seemed logical, so I could be making these squares bigger. But I think, just based on how big it is already and it's not done, I think it's going to be cozy size. So yeah, making some progress. Very happy with it so far. Just not really looking forward to the idea that I might have to switch it to a bigger bag. It shouldn't be that big a deal, but my space is a little bit of a mess right now, so finding another bag is not very appealing. So yeah, calico quilt shawl. The next project I have, both of these are new. This is going to be another pair of socks. If I don't bring that to the movie tonight, I'll bring this. I am not very far. I am just working on the cuff. And these are my colors. So it's like, you know, nice pale minty green and a lilac. I just thought they kind of looked springy together. They are both from my leftovers pile. And they are both So Happy Jane. I believe the purple was Mountain Sunrise, but I do not remember what color the green was. I got them both. I had a subscription box for her for like a year and a half, and then I stopped because I wasn't using them fast enough to keep up. And yeah, because of that, I don't think they're colors that she normally has in her collection. They were just monthly colors. But like I said, I thought they went nice together. My current plan is to do, I can't decide if I'm going to do 3 stripes of like purple, green, purple, and then go into the green for the foot, or if I'm going to do 5 stripes. But the bulk of the sock is going to be the green, and the purple is going to be the accent. I thought that looked very springy. I may or may not make it the comfort core foot. I haven't decided. It was just, I finished my socks and needed another travel project. I have not been making as many socks this year. And the last pair that I made, those comfort core socks, I was working on for longer than I normally would, which may have been because they were patterned. I might keep these just vanilla socks because I'm going to be traveling soon, and that will make them a little easier. But yeah, the plan is to have the little pops of purple. I don't know if I'm going to make the heel, but definitely I will do the toe, or at least some stripes around the toe, just to keep it so it's that green with the little pops of purple, so it looks like little wildflowers. It just felt very springy to me. The last active work in progress that I have is very, very new. I don't have very much. So this is going to be a twisted t-shirt. The pattern is by Brianna Lupino of the Little Wolf Knits, and so is the yarn. This is, which one is this one? So this green is One Short Day. It was from her Wicked collection. And I'm using this for the ribbing, so collar, sleeves, bottom. And then I'm going to be pairing it with Wicked Through and Through. So it's a more like emeraldy solid green with this variegated green. When I've done twisted t-shirts in the past, I have always had like stripes because I would be using yarns that I didn't have enough to make one big project with, or like I did an advent calendar once and then I did just 2 single skeins and striped them. This is going to be the first time that I'm doing it as it's written, where it's just the 2 different colors, but I thought it would look very, very pretty. I don't wear a lot of like bold greens, so I'm a little nervous, but I did make one other change to the pattern than when I previously made it. I've made it 2 other times, and I'm actually sizing one down so that this one will be slightly more fitted. I'm hoping I will like it. It's only like a 4 stitch difference in the cast on. So I feel like it's not going to be that big of a difference moving on, but like the other ones I have, they're a decently loose fit. So I feel like I could go down one size and have it still be comfortable. Okay, so the last 2 slightly inactive whips I have. One is, I showed last time I filmed a finished Tunisian crochet pot holder. I have started another one, and I call it an inactive whip mostly because technically I've been working on it for 2 weeks, and I have done like 7 or 8 rows. I don't tend to work on it a lot. It's just kind of a background. If I have to sit somewhere, like there's been a few times my daughter was taking her bath and I was just up waiting while people were moving around kind of thing. Like it's not even I have 10 minutes somewhere. It's I'm literally sitting right here waiting for something that's going to take me 2 minutes and I might get a row in. I like Tunisian crochet, but it does tend to hurt my hand faster. So it's just kind of sitting here in the background, barely even worth talking about, but at some point it should be done. And that is using Lily's Sugar and Cream and just a Tunisian simple stitch. And then the other background project I have is my Jethro cardigan. It has been kind of a background project for the last few weeks just due to its size and portability. So it is mostly done. I have both sleeves done. I have all of the squares done. All I need to do is finish the ribbing. And when people were starting to get here, I had not picked up the stitches to do the ribbing yet, and it just seemed a little bit too big and fiddly to do while people were here. I did pick it up and I was starting to do it, and then I was looking at my yarn. I have another skein of this yarn, but I just was not sure that this would be enough to complete all of the ribbing on the bottom and the button band. So I kind of let it back burner because it's big, it's fiddly. I'd like to finish it, but we'll get into more of that when we get into life stuff. But basically, I have another skein of yarn, but winding it up to be able to pull from both sides right now because it is fingering weight held double. I would have to actually use like my ball winder and my Swift, and my space is just not set up to easily do that right now. So I'm kind of like, I'll work on those other projects, and then when I am done, I will finish this. And I don't like it. I don't like leaving a big project like that undone for as long as it is going to be. But I've just kind of reached a point where, like, for one, I'm going to be traveling soon, and I don't want to take an almost finished project traveling. We're going to be driving, so, like, technically speaking, I will have the space, but also, like, I don't want to use my space that way. I don't want it to be taking up space doing an almost finished project. But also, if that ball of yarn is not enough and I have to wind up the last ball I have to find a place to do that. And that's not something that I can easily do right now. So with all of those active works in progress and my 2 back burner works in progress, I feel like we can kind of slide into talking a little bit about the goals. I don't think we talked about it much last episode. Sorry, I left my notebooks just out of reach. So it's been just long enough since we have spoken that I will double check. Going into my stash, I guess stash down, I don't know. My stash tracking from April, I started out the month with 307. I got 4 skeins of yarn in, but I used 3 skeins of yarn, so I did end with the net 1. May is not over yet, but based on the current projects I have going, it's looking like, technically speaking, I am going to use 0 full skeins or non-leftover skeins of yarn by the end of the month. And I gained 1 skein from my Yarnable order, so that will have me going up 1 skein of yarn again this month. If I had finished the Jethro, I would have lost 3, but it's not likely to happen. I'm filming on the 24th, and none of the projects that I'm currently working on actively will be finished by the end of the month and count towards reduced numbers. I do feel like reduced numbers of skeins is something I'm having to be very kind to myself about, because I did finish 3 projects, and the 3 of those used up a decent amount of yarn. But one was an advent calendar, which I was not counting mini skeins in that total. It was just a reorganization video, counted up how many skeins of yarn. Another one used up scrap yarn, which is something the other 2 used up scrap yarn, which is something I really, really want to be aware of and making an important part of what I'm doing right now. But also, I'm not tracking it. I have a lot of different ways of tracking yarn. I thought about doing grams, and I have a spreadsheet that I still think I need more yarn that needs to go in it, but I'm not doing anything with that anytime soon. I mean, there's just so many of these little things that are a little chaotic and all of that, and I'm using a lot of yarn. I am using what I have way more than I'm buying. So even if, technically speaking, 2 months in a row, I'm netting like a +1, I still feel like I am doing good at yarn management. I'm using what I have more than I am buying. And I think, as hard as it is for me to be not counting some of those scrap yarns going out and not counting the advent calendars as each individual skein, I think it's still a simpler thing for me, because if I started doing grams and weighing finished projects and all of that, I think I'd just be exhausted enough that I wouldn't keep up with it. So writing down when I finish a skein and when I buy a skein, I think is enough. And just reminding myself, it's fine if, technically speaking, I am gaining 1, because I did finish 2 big projects and 1 little project, and none of them involved me buying new yarn. Even when I get to the Jethro, that will still technically have newly purchased yarn, because I had what I thought would be enough for the connecting and the ribbing. It was not, so I had to buy more yarn of that color to finish it. So it will be using a lot of yarn from my stash, but also buying new yarn. So, I mean, the twisted t-shirt, 2 were from my stash, and then I bought 1 more to have enough to make the shirt. Like, I think I'm going to have to give myself grace, because if I'm buying 2 to use 2 and a bunch of scraps, or I'm buying 1 to use 2 that I already have, I still think, like, in the overall, it's going to be better. It's going to result in more gone. Anyways, so I did also have a couple of other things. Like, my month doesn't look very impressive. I know you can't read that. But I have 4 main projects on here. I have the Jethro, the the Comfort Core socks that I finished. And then I did write down that I'm just calling them my flower socks, and then the twisted t-shirt. And then I have my calico quilt down here at the bottom. I have been tracking my coziest memory, how many stripes on my granny stripe per month, and then I started adding in the calico quilt of, like, when I finish a color. I have done 0 squares on my coziest memory this month. My goal was technically to do 1 per week throughout the entire month, but I did make the conscious decision at the beginning of May to just put that project aside, because I knew I was going to be busy. I knew I was going to have less time, and I knew I was going to have to let something go, and that seemed like a logical one to let go for the month. I'm not exactly sure when I'm picking it back up. I've thought about bringing it as just a backup project when I travel, but then I thought about all the scraps that I'd have to bring for it, so I don't know. I might make some planning in there so that I can bring some of the scraps and bring it as a backup project, but, I mean, all 3 of my active projects I'm planning on bringing, and the only one that I think I'd come anywhere close to finishing while I'm gone would be potentially the socks. I should have a decent amount of knitting time because it is a road trip and all of that, but also, like, 3 projects should be enough. I shouldn't need another one. If I bring backup, it's probably going to be backup for another pair of socks, and I will most likely pick up working on my coziest memory again after I return from my trip, but we'll really just see what we decide to do. So as far as goals, that's how it's going. I have finished 1 major scrap project in the last month. And then technically the socks were another scrap project. The Jethro cardigan is not done, so I do still have, I guess, technically 2 major scrap projects going because the coziest memory is also there, but that's been backburnered for 2 years where I just kind of keep slowly working on it. It never really feels like an active project. And as far as continuing to use more yarn that I already had than buying more yarn, everything that I'm currently working on involves yarn that I had previous to 2026 starting. Keeping a scrap project going, currently having an active scrap project is coming from just doing socks from my leftovers basket. Oh, sorry. Every time I film, I swear, although everything in the air just makes my nose itch. So yeah, doing the t-shirt that I'm working on, 2 of the 3 skeins I had before 2026 started, the advent calendar is from 2025, and the color 25, it is going to be something that I've already had. I haven't picked it out yet. And then the socks are from leftover yarn from, of course, before the beginning of the year. Everything that I'm working on involves yarn that I had before 2026 started. So I feel like I'm doing good on, like, prioritizing what I have. I have not bought any yarn this month, only my Yarnable. So sort of bought yarn this month, but I did not pick anything out additional. It has definitely been tempting to do just because when things are overwhelming, sometimes you just want that little hit of dopamine, and buying pretty colors of yarn, even if I have no idea what I'm going to do with them, that definitely can qualify. So with all of that, let me go ahead and get into life stuff. Alright, so I really want to finish this color before the end of the weekend. It's a 3-day weekend for me, but I have other stuff to do this weekend too. So let me get this going, and we'll see if I'm able to knit and talk. So the last time I filmed a video like this was, I think, 3 weeks ago. And, oh, I put that on the wrong side. I already moved it and then put it on the wrong side. I like to keep these on the right side of the work, especially when it's garter stitch, because then it's an extra reminder of which side I'm working on, as well as where I was the last time we talked. Anyways, so 3-ish weeks ago, I knew I was going to have my in-laws visiting. They were coming because it is my middle child's senior year. She has graduated since then, but they were coming for her final choir concert, and they were also coming for her graduation. So they were going to be here for a couple weeks. I knew my mom was coming into town. I knew I had a brother coming in for the graduation, and I knew I was going to be taking some time off work, partially for the graduation, but also I am still going to be going on a trip coming soon. So all of that, I knew it was going to be busy. I went ahead and filmed that silent-ish spinning video. I know those are not everyone's favorite. And when I was editing it, I saw the lighting was not as good as it could have been. I like my space where it's pretty, but I've got this big window here, and sometimes that makes the lighting really bad. But also, I live in a real house. I don't have a good studio space. And while, yes, I could do like blackout curtains here to make the lighting a little bit more consistent, I film in here like once every 2 weeks. I have to live here the other time, so I don't want curtains that are just designed to make filming easier up all the time. So anyways, that is, I knew all of that was going on. I tried to be prepared for it. But while everybody was here, naturally there was a whole bunch of things going on. We had Mother's Day, so it was me and my mother-in-law both here for Mother's Day. Today actually is my husband and I's anniversary, so my in-laws wanted to celebrate with us while they were here. We had my daughter's graduation, and just that little like, hey, we're all together, let's do something fun. So they wanted to go to the zoo. There's this really fun place out here called Babby Farms, where you can go and pet a kangaroo and feed the animals and all of that sort of fun stuff. So, there was just normal, you're getting together with family, you want to do things, not just, I say not just sit around and talk, because like I definitely do have family members where that we get together and we literally just sit at each other's houses and chat. And that is great, but we were doing things this time. So all of that was just, still had work. All of that was just a whole bunch of fun, but also a whole bunch of busy. During all of that, I was at work one day. It was already a busy day at work. And I get this phone call from my oldest child. And if she is actually calling on the phone versus texting, I am instantly on high alert. As far as I was aware, my husband and my in-laws were out fishing, and my daughter was actually calling me, not just texting me. So I knew something was wrong, but the way that work was, I wasn't able to answer the phone. But I was instantly like trying to text on my watch, because it's like, okay, well, something's clearly wrong, but I can't do anything right now. And I hear from her that she is calling me because my husband's trying to keep his phone line home. They were home. She was in her room and water started dripping from out around her light fixture. So my husband had already called a plumber. They were just waiting for them to come out and tell us what was going on. And I had to go right into a meeting, and it was a meeting where I'm essentially leading the conversation. So I can't even like be passively there worrying. I had to, paste the smile on and keep going. And it was not ideal while I'm waiting to find out what is happening and the extent of the problem. Am I going to go home and even have water in a house? And this was before the graduation. So it was like in a house where people are visiting and more people are coming to visit. And do I even have a house that's going to have running water in a week? And the plumber came, they looked at everything. They could tell us what a good chunk of what the problem was, but also like, hey, this is what we're seeing happening, but also you need to have somebody come out here to check for water damage. So, unfortunately, a year ago, we had the same company out here looking for water damage under our house due to groundwater. It was so funny because they came out to drop off and were like, hey, we recognize that person. They worked on our house a lot last year. But they come in, they look at everything, and they're like, okay, well, here's some fans. We're going to have to cut into your walls tomorrow. But everything should still be completely livable. We have to cut into the walls to see how extensive the damage is. So, all a little stressed, still trying to figure it out, hoping homeowners insurance is going to cover everything. But, with insurance, technically speaking, we still are not 100% sure. It should be, but until everything is settled, we don't know. So we deal with everything the best we can. We're moving stuff out of my daughter's room with their, like, yeah, everything should still be livable. It should be perfectly fine, but we're moving out the things that she doesn't want to potentially get damaged. So she's got a lot of books that are very important to her, books that are irreplaceable. She's got, we traveled around the world, so she's got copies of books, what used to be her favorite book, in several different languages. She's got a Alice in Wonderland Christmas ornament that it's just beautiful, so she keeps it on her shelf decoratively, that we bought at a random Christmas market in Germany. Like, they're not things, even things that just come from Target, technically, you can't easily replace because they're going to be gone in 6 months. But these are ones where it's not just that we can't get to where they were before and hope that they still have it. It's that they're distinctly linked to experiences and memories for her. So we're moving all of that out. Next day, I go to work, and I get a message from my husband in the middle of the day that they had to move things around in my craft area where my yarn ball winder is, because we didn't even think about it. The bathroom where they determined the leak was coming from shares a wall with my craft space. So they had to cut into the wall in there to see how bad it was. Luckily, everything wasn't that bad. They sprayed to make sure there was no mold or mildew and set up some fans. The fans are now gone, but we still have holes in our house because we are waiting for insurance to cover the rebuild. They had to look at the estimate. From everything we've been told, they should be covering it all, but until they actually process that, we have holes in our house. And if they say no, we have to figure out how to pay to cover up these holes. We are lucky-ish because we do still have, we have a 3-bathroom house, because one of the bathrooms is unusable due to floor and wall missing, but also the toilet from that bathroom is currently sitting in my craft room, not right next to the giant hole in the wall of my craft room. Yeah, everything is a mess. So this is why if I have to do a project where I'd have to wind the yarn using my Swift and my ball winder so that I could pull from both ends, it's just not happening right now. I could get to that stuff, but I have to find a completely different place to set it up. So yeah, during all of this, my husband and I are also planning a road trip very soon, and we are going to be going to see multiple national parks. If you are newish here, I don't remember if I said it at the beginning or not, but I do live near Boise, Idaho. So we're going to be driving through Montana, Wyoming to see some national parks, and I think one of the Dakotas. That sounds right. We've got it all planned out. I'm planning my projects at least as much as I'm planning on the trip. I have informed my husband, I know it's 1,000,000 hours of driving, but I'm very prepared for him to plan the trip and be the passenger princess the whole way along with my knitting and just looking at the pretty things. I know that's not how it's actually going to go, but, I'm at least speaking it into the universe. So yeah, we're going to have some days, I think some of the longest days of driving will be like 8 to 10 hours, and that's assuming everything is as it says on the internet it should be. And it should be a lot of fun. We're making it kind of as an anniversary trip, but every time my husband and I have tried to go somewhere without any of the kids, something has happened. And as of right now, it's looking like my youngest child has already gone with my in-laws. They have her for the trip. My 2 older ones, they are technically adults. They still live at home and all of that, but they are old enough to be left on their own. And they will be staying here, but it's looking like, due to waiting for insurance to process everything before they can do the rebuild, they're going to be staying here living in a house with holes in it until we get back, at least. I'm hoping that we can have everything processed so that as soon as we get back, they can do the rebuild, but it's really just going to depend on insurance, because after we get back, my husband does have to drive down to pick up our youngest in Colorado, and I know my daughters are adults, but I don't want either of them left alone in a house with somebody who I don't know, and I'm going to have to be at work. So yeah, it's a lot of chaos, a lot of stress, but also, in the grand scheme of things, it could be a lot worse. Our house is still standing. We have not had to have the water turned off at any point during all of this. I'm sure my oldest child would probably be a little bit less on that it could be worse, because it is her room that the water dripped into, and while they said it would be completely livable, it has not been. And so she is air mattressing it in the living room, which is not fun for her or for anyone else. But we still have bathrooms. It's just a little bit more annoying because, I want to go to bed, and that happens to be the same time one of my children would normally take their shower, and so they're coming in to shower in my room instead of where they normally would. Grand scheme of things, an inconvenience, but not that big a deal. But yeah, we are looking at a good trip coming up very soon, and hopefully getting the rebuild on our house very soon as well. I don't know exactly if I'm going to do any filming while we are gone. I'm not necessarily planning on bringing like my filming camera or anything like that, but I may try to get a few clips here and there. I don't think I'll really try to vlog because it's a trip my husband and I are taking for our 25th anniversary. So I might film while we're gone. I might not. If I do, it'll probably be more along the lines of shorts, but we'll see. I've been really out of the habit of filming those. And then most likely I will just film another video after we get back. Okay, I was literally saying I am starting to ramble. It's time for me to end. And then I hear a click on my camera telling me that I have recorded too much in one moment and it's cutting me off. So clearly my camera agrees. I don't know exactly where it cut me off before. I will find out in a minute. It's going to probably look a little bit weird in this moment, but that is all that I have for today. I'm going to get this editing. Thank you all for listening to my ramble, and until we see each other again, have a very happy making.